Newly reported figures from Buffalo's FBI office show the number of people in street gangs is much higher than previously thought. The agency places the number at 700.
And guess what? That may actually be on the low side. For details now, we're going to turn to our investigative reporter, Steve Brown. Steve?
Scott and Mary Alice, last night we reported the Buffalo police have solved just 7 of 77 gang-related homicides in the past 3 years. And as you pointed out, while the number of Buffalo gang members may shock some people, there's a good chance that the number is even higher.
You want to get somebody out of a gang, you want to take a gun out of someone's hand, we need to get them a job that pays well.
Activist Duncan Kirkwood grew up on Buffalo's east side. He says a lack of opportunity drives young people towards street gangs.
They have opportunities to try to make money, albeit not always the best ways or legal, but unless we're going to replace that with something positive, then we're going to see those numbers continue to rise.
And helping Buffalo police track gangs and gang members is the local FBI office, which runs the Safe Streets Task Force. The task force works with local agencies like the Buffalo Police Department. Now, 2 years ago, the task force had identified in Buffalo 30 gangs and 300 gang members. But using better intelligence and better information collection efforts, as of December, that number became 55 street gangs in Buffalo and 700 gang members. Now, how does that compare with the number of police officers working the streets here in the city?
Overall, 680, 679.
That's uniformed officers?
That's everybody, from inspector, captains, lieutenants, detective sergeant, and patrol officers.
And there's this. The Safe Streets Task Force is obviously federal. They don't track minors, people under the age of 18. And a law enforcement source tells me that teenagers are an enormous source of violence at times. So that 700 gang member figure for the city of Buffalo, that's likely to be low. Kirkwood says it will take time to rebuild trust between police and the violence-prone neighborhoods on the city's east and west sides. And he says, for those who succeed in these areas, they need to stay and lead the way for others.
When everybody's leaving our community every chance they get that's doing better, then the community's never going to get better. So we need more people to commit to say, okay, I'm not going to just leave, I'm going to make where I live better instead of going to live somewhere better. Because we need to show those kids that they can be successful. Now, Kirkwood says cities like Buffalo, which have seen white flight, are also experiencing black flight. He's calling on people of color to stay, stand, and help rebuild neighborhoods on the city's east and west side. Scott?
All right, Steve, the 700 members that the FBI identified here, are these 700 hardened criminals, as we would call?
Well, we're told that this is, relatively speaking, a spectrum. Generally, gangs are an association, a location, sometimes as small as a single block, and some criminal activity. Some of that is small-time, petty theft. The big concern are the gangs which are involved in true organized crime, and the killings. Building those cases, we're told, takes an extraordinary amount of time. Often more than a year, sometimes longer than that.
Interesting terminology. We've heard of white flight, but black flight is a new term that we're hearing.
One to me, but apparently it is an issue that helps, does not help sustain those particular neighborhoods on the city's east and west side. When you find somebody that has success, what Kirkwood says is that they need role models to stand and stay so that there is somebody that young people can point to and say, hey, he made it from here, I can make it from here.
A mentor of sorts. It makes sense.
Exactly.
All right, Steve Brown, excellent report tonight. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.